Picture this. Over the Australian training ranges, an E-7A Wedgetail is doing what it does best, building the air picture, sorting tracks, managing the flow. Nearby, an FA-18F Super Hornet is ready to act on that picture. And then there is a third player, not a pilot, not a cockpit, not even a voice on the radio. The MQ-28 Ghost Bat is there to take tasks that would normally pull a crewed jet closer to danger, and to do them as part of the same team. That is the core idea behind the first publicly described missile engagement scenario involving Ghost Bat working with an E-7A and an FA-18F. It is not just an uncrewed aircraft flying in the same airspace. It is an uncrewed aircraft trying to matter inside the kill chain. The Ghost Bat story starts with a simple problem that air forces everywhere recognize. Modern air combat is getting more crowded, more connected, and more lethal. Yet pilots are not getting easier to replace, and high-end aircraft are not getting cheaper to risk. Australia and Boeing Australia leaned into a concept that had been discussed for years, but rarely proven at scale. A loyal wingman, an uncrewed jet designed to fly with crewed aircraft, accept more risk, and expand what a formation can do. Early on, the program was known for what it represented as much as for what it was. A locally designed and built military aircraft effort tied to an operational need, rather than a one-off demonstrator. Then came the hard part. The part that decides whether an idea leaves the brochure. Flight testing, systems integration, autonomy that has to be trusted but also constrained, and a production pathway that does not stall at prototype success. By the mid-2020s, the tone around the program shifted from "can it fly" to "can it integrate, scale, and deploy," with a stated ambition to reach combat service by 2028. What is Ghost Bat in practical terms? Think of it as a fighter-sized, uncrewed aircraft designed to operate at fighter-relevant speeds and altitudes, but built around mission flexibility, rather than a single fixed role. Its core value is not one magic sensor or one headline weapon. It is the ability to change what it carries and how it contributes, depending on the day and the threat. One day, it is the forward set of eyes, pushing into a contested corridor to extend detection and tracking beyond the formation's comfort zone. Another day, it is a communications bridge, keeping data moving when terrain, distance, or jamming makes that difficult. Another day, it is focused on electronic warfare, shaping the battle space by confusing, degrading, or delaying an opponent's ability to see and target. And then there is the question everyone asks sooner or later. Can it carry weapons? The direction of travel is clear. Ghost Bat is being associated with missile employment scenarios, and the broader design approach points to internal carriage for selected weapons in later configurations, which matters for drag, signature management, and survivability. But the most important point for a viewer is simpler. Even if the MQ-28 is not always the shooter, it can make the shooter better by improving the formation's information, timing, and options. Now, come back to that engagement scenario. Why does it matter that the MQ-28 was teamed with an E-7A and an FA-18F? Because that trio describes a future formation that is realistic, not futuristic. The E-7A is a battle manager. The Super Hornet is a proven frontline platform, and the MQ-28 is the new piece that changes the geometry of risk. Let's be blunt about what Ghost Bat is for. It is about mass and positioning in a world where air defenses, sensors, and electronic warfare punish predictable formations. It is about doing more with fewer pilots, and about creating dilemmas for an adversary who wants to target the obvious, the expensive, the crude. The strengths follow naturally. First, it can extend the formation's reach, either with sensors or with mission payloads that push forward. Second, it can absorb risk. If you need someone to get closer, to look longer, to linger near a threat ring, you would rather it be uncrewed. Third, it can add flexibility. Modular payload approaches mean the same airframe can be reconfigured across roles, instead of fielding completely separate fleets for every niche mission. But the weaknesses matter, because modern battlefields punish assumptions. If the data link is jammed, the aircraft must still behave safely and usefully without constant human direction. If the autonomy is too limited, it becomes a remote-controlled burden. If the autonomy is too free, commanders worry about control and rules of engagement. And then there is the cost question. The more capable the aircraft becomes, the harder it is to treat as expendable. That balance between survivability, capability, and acceptable loss is one of the defining tensions of this entire category. In a traditional setup, the crewed fighter may have to move forward to improve its own sensor picture, confirm a track, or maintain data continuity. Each of those moves costs survivability. With Ghostbat, the formation can distribute tasks. The E-7A can manage the picture. The crewed fighter can stay positioned for its own survival and timing. The uncrewed aircraft can go where the threat is thicker, carry the mission payload that is needed, and feed information back into the team. That is the operational promise. Not replacing crewed aircraft, but changing how they fight. Ghostbat is not alone in this race. The United States is building its own family of collaborative combat aircraft concepts, aiming for scale and rapid iteration. Other American approaches have explored more attritable, uncrewed jets that trade some performance for cost and quantity. Outside the US, several countries have showcased loyal wingman-style designs, including uncrewed aircraft pitched as companions to fighters, jammers, scouts, or even missile carriers. What makes MQ-28 stand out is less about claiming it is unique and more about the path it is taking. It is being tied to specific Australian platforms, specific teaming scenarios, and a declared route into service. In other words, it is being framed as something meant to fit into an existing air force, not just impress in a test video. Air combat is shifting from single-platform dominance to system dominance. Victory is less about one aircraft seeing and doing everything, and more about networks that share sensing, decision support, jamming, and weapons effects across a team. If that model works, it changes planning. It changes force structure. It changes how you protect high-value assets like airborne early warning aircraft and tankers, because you can place uncrewed nodes where they extend coverage and complicate the threat. It also changes escalation dynamics. The ability to probe, observe, and even engage with fewer pilots in the immediate risk zone can alter how quickly air forces are willing to take certain actions in contested spaces. But it also accelerates countermeasures. Opponents will target the links, the autonomy, and the support infrastructure. That means the future is not just more drones, it is a cycle of adaptation between teaming concepts and the methods designed to break them. The MQ-28 Ghost Bat is one of the clearest examples of how a loyal wingman concept is being translated into operational practice. Its value is not a single headline feature, but the way it plugs into a team with aircraft like the E-7A Wedgetail and the FA-18F Super Hornet, reshaping how sensing, risk, and engagement can be distributed. If Australia reaches its stated goal of combat service by 2028, Ghostbat will not just be another uncrewed aircraft in the inventory. It will be a working template for how crewed and uncrewed aviation may fight together in the years ahead.